Hello and welcome. It is the 20th day of June 2019. My name is Derek, and this is the Money Charts channel. All bets, trades of the like, well, that's within each's own risk and their own reward. And the video title, Litecoin going over $2,000, something in that area. Technically higher than 2,107, we will say, something in that approximate mathematical range. And we'll talk about why in this video. Okay. We'll start it with the LTC BTC cross, which is the percentage of the price of Bitcoin. Do 1 divided by the number. That's the ratio again. At 0.02, that's 50 to 1. At 0.01, that's 100 to 1. So we're in between that. And this is easy analysis to me. I'm not going to use any type of mathematical Fibonacci calculations because we look at price action, the resistance here, this general area of around a hair under the 20 handle is. I mean, if anything, I could. No, I gotta go right here. 190. As far as another line below that, well, that is relatively obvious. It's in here somewhere. We got this line, and we'll just call it right there. I don't count this pierce or this pierce in here. To me, they never happened. This one did. The price did rally up to this level. It was a very sharp rally and pullback. But this one, and maybe the buy order actually happened, but as far as the real price is concerned, if you have a solid amount of time to buy and sell at that point, it happens. And it could be hours, but if there's just one of those like flash sells, I'm going to count that as such. Other than that, it's all correct. So this is that whole neutral part that it's been in. There has been a small brief period here, and then this little bit in here before 2017, where it had a sustained period of time of the market having a fall, and then one period to get it all back, and then follow through after that into that neutral part. So now we have this upper range, which it has never really tested before too much. It's really only two things it's ever done, and ever. It's the one that really happened when you look back in 2015. This move happened. It did go up there. It was over a few days, and then a few days going back. This is the open area where it started. We'll say at least when it started in the Poloniex trading pair, and that's at the start of 2014. So the ratio is 2.5. It's basically 2.5, 2.6, 2.67 solid for the first few months. And it quickly got back there, but again, it was very fast. And now we've had multiple attempts in here to be able to get out, but it didn't do it. And now one little bit here, but how it's holding in here. But the whole point of this is on the situation of breakout above. I'm going to be looking for a test to come as this is a level of resistance. And for support, I'm going to go this range, but even piercing down a little bit lower for where the hold is. But in a situation of breaking above in here, because a break above this is to here, and a break above this is where it gets extremely interesting to me. Okay, that's a little too bit much. And there we have it. So going up to 0.76 might be saying a lot, but mathematically that could still possibly happen. I mean, to say Bitcoin is, or Litecoin's 3/4 of the value of Bitcoin might be overdoing it. But the market's going to do what it's going to do, and the action of trades is going to happen. I mean, the log scale, it doesn't look like it's too far to fetch. That's all I'm saying. But that's not where I'm expecting it to go. I'm saying if it's breaking out above here, I think conservatively it goes at least to around here, which is that 8 number. And I think it could even end up going above here. But I think once we get to this 12 area, we'll probably start to overdo it a little bit. I think it's an amazing sell opportunity spot. But I think the realisticness for a situation for something like that to occur is most certainly available in the cards. We'll take a very quick look at this on the short term, and we'll start off within the weekly chart, which to me, when we're talking about all this, I'm really talking long-term analysis. And this move right now from this high to this low, having a very good first move, making it like 80 plus percent or so, but 80% to where it was. And then so far a good correction, but now we got a lower high. Higher low is important. That would be symmetrical. Getting above this high is important, or getting above this low. So it attempted to do something about this high earlier, it didn't do it. And so far, it's now working within its correction. Of course, it can come back if it chooses. But if it does so, starts with the fire, that's definitely a good setup. And within this, we've got a move below the 18 lows, and that can sound bad and devastating, and at times it is. But when you have a situation like this little area coming to where it was, it still isn't there. And I've seen oftentimes where it comes down there, and that just happens to be the area where it bottoms. We'll see if that's the case in here. And on the 4-hour term time frame, we are looking at a possible failed breakdown, as this failed this move up here, and then now look just barely down below the support. But that's all short-term analysis, and it's the Bitcoin cross, because good reason for this right now is Bitcoin's doing very well. We're going to now switch this up to Litecoin against the US dollar. So therefore, I'm going to put in what's the best exchange to use here. I want to make sure that I can always change it up. Cause I need long-term analysis, but we can go short-term all the way up. And let's do Binance because I'll get the best. See, look at the difference here in the 4-hour. It had its move from here to here. It's just hanging in there, going sideways, staying within it. It's in the middle of this sideways range with resistance at 139 and support between 125 high and 20. In the high, well, the last $5 of 125. Yeah, the last $5 of that. That's the support resistance level. So it's just in there doing whatever. On the daily chart, it has been in nothing more than a spectacular uptrend. Since the 18 average of lows has hardly been anything at all, just in here. That's it, with price action being below it. Right now, it's above it. Got the sideways action, and it's a good move so far. When we look at this on the weekly chart, this is where I need more data. So that's I guess Poloniex or Bittrex is the way to go here. I think no. How about calculated by dollar? That's probably the way to go. Yep, that's what I want. All right, so I'm going to talk about some Fibonacci analysis, and this is where 2,107 is the answer. And in a market, you have a phenomenal up move. Where did it come from in here? Okay, I'm not for now. I don't care about this number, especially when this did retrace as good as it did. Meaning, I want to see a market have a fantastic move, a fantastic price correction. That's a higher low. What we got in here, and then on the break of this resistance, the area in which I'm looking to go to is this number, which is the high, divided by this low, to the exponent of 1.618 and 0.3 as well if you want more decimals, but they're not needed. And you multiply that by its low again. Okay, I might get different numbers if I use a different exchange. Yeah, 380. I'm going to use $380 as the high. Now I used 22.22 in my pre-video calculations, and I can see the low is 22.24, and that's why I used 22.22. So then, the up target is what it's going to give for me. While we're at it, we'll take a look at the 61.8 and the 38.2% Fibonacci levels, but even 2200 here. So yeah, I'll just say $2,200. Because it usually pierces extra, so yeah, I'll entitle it like Litecoin price target 2,200 or something like that. But I'm not going to say, oh, by the end of the year or by March or whenever, but the next move. Because how long is it going to take? We could have a situation here, maybe. I don't throw out the situation of a possibility where it does something in the neck of the woods, like, okay, well, maybe it doesn't quite get up there. Maybe we have something like this. And we ascend. We have some sort of ascending triangle formation. And next thing you know, it's April of 2021, and it's just now breaking that level, and it's not going to be until December of 2021 until that $2,000+ target comes. So I don't do that. I don't know of any indicators to tell me if a move is going to be really fast or going slow, especially when all this is doing now is retracing past that 61.8% level, because I know it's north of 134. I think it's around 120. Let's just go back to it. 128 and 66. So $128 is what it has been getting above. And for what I've been seeing, this is why I think Litecoin is poised to have its next move to go higher. But this next move doesn't say it's going to break this resistance by any time soon. It just means we should test anywhere between 76.4 and previous high. So the next two layers of resistance is 380, and before that it's going to be 194 at the 76.4 level. So 200. So $200, 360, and if it breaks 360, we have an up target of around $2,200, and there's going to be levels probably along the way, but it doesn't usually take too long for markets to have those sort of moves. And let's just see what it was the last time. This time here, we'll just go from this high of 23 to the low of a buck 26. So we'll do $2,300 and 126 cents. That gave us an up target of a pierce above 138, which is basically what it did. And it was a good pierce above 138. So what would a good pierce above 2100 be? 5,000? I'm just saying, these markets are very, very wild. So what ends up happening within these markets? So within the cross, what I like to do sometimes with a lot of my markets, especially Theta, but Litecoin as well too, is if we hit a double peak target, what's the most likely scenario? Does it actually make sense? Because in the early forecast, one of the things I mentioned was Bitcoin, the Litecoin cross going around zero point zero 0.08 to 12. So we'll even do the 10% number to make it easy. So if Litecoin ends up going to like say 3, 4, 5,000, then we basically want to multiply that number by 10 for the Bitcoin price, which is like 30, 40, 50,000. And that's the number that makes sense if Bitcoin ends up breaking its $20,000 barrier, because most likely that's going to happen at the same damn time. It's going to break in, give or take some periods of time. Maybe one will be a leading move before the other, and probably will. But when this breaks this, sometime around that point, Bitcoin's going to be breaking that, and again, if Bitcoin has Litecoin has a fantastic type of one of their moves up like it has, we still got a good little like 5 weeks or more before the Litecoin halving takes place. So what could end up happening over the next 5, 6 candles could be a very interesting situation, because if you end up getting if the large moves start coming in, they can oftentimes happen at the end of a move, sort of like we have those two green candles here that preceded this. So now we have this, and when you have a trend line break, wherever this trend line is, that on the uptrend line, and this happened with Bitcoin back in the day, you could have a big move, there's a trend line break there was a big move. That's when the volatility gets big. So we could end up breaking this in like a couple of weeks from now if it has a move where we see like if Litecoin goes over 200. I'm not going to calculate it, but if you really just take a look at it for yourself with the markets, and well, I'm not going to look at it for the number, but if it breaks above it, oftentimes those big moves can happen. And now the big volume would be coming in, and you could don't and take the volume for what it's worth on here because it's on Poloniex. Back then, Poloniex was really popular. Now they're not. So that's so it doesn't really mean much. I'm just using because I got the data here. I like data. But anyway, big moves. And when you look at the idea of about well, first of all, $2,000, 2,000 right here. I mean that's like okay, whatever. I can put a horizontal ray there. Let's just remove all my scribbling and put a ray around 2 grand, even a hair above 20 right there, 21. That's like okay, that's standard. That's what looks like a chart would do if it's going to break above that resistance. And if we look at the 5-6,000 level, well, let's put a line there. 5-6,000 right there. That's just a good hair above. That's really all that is, a nice hair above that. So conservative, maybe we're talking about 1,100 or so. And that's like just a small break above. And it might be short-term levels, and it was just whatever. We could come to 1,000 or here, then pull back to here, then go up to here, then pull back to there, then go up to here, then pull back to there. Maybe have something like this, and then later we'll have something in the area of like going way down here, and then back up again. You know what? Volatility most likely is going to remain. But as far as where we go in the next term, when you get to those prices, well, first of all, I'm trading Litecoin against over about a half a dozen different crosses, and if Litecoin can have an early move for me, this is where it gets fun. This has already been pre-planned. If Litecoin can have an early adoption move, which means it has a spectacular gain at whatever point moving forward over some altcoins that I want to play at either that I'm playing now at higher stakes, that I'm playing now that I would want to play at higher stakes for my ratio trade, or add ones I don't even own, or I'm not trading with Litecoin. Then I could say, okay, I can take this amount of Litecoin because Litecoin is up like double, triple, where everything else isn't. So I'm going to sell some Litecoin. I'm going to buy this coin, this coin, this coin, trade them against the ratios. And then in situations where if when Litecoin's at like 2 grand, most likely it's time to liquidate cryptos into things like precious metals. Use it as what it is designed, cryptocurrency. Use it as currency. Oh, this thing you're looking to be buying. Oh, this debt you want to pay off. Your mortgage you want to pay off. This boat you want to buy. This car you want to buy. The list goes on and on and on. Now you're able to do that type of stuff. And one of the things about it, protecting yourself on the whole inflationary point of view, well, when you do that, it's almost like, okay, let's just say something here, something you buy now, uh, a meal that you like of a particular type is, I don't know, say $15 when you buy it at a grocery store. Well, now it goes up here. Now we got prices up there, and that $15 meal is $22. Well, not only does it make it easy to say, for not only you don't even think of the price going up, you think of it going down because of how your cryptos have done, especially if your trading's kicking ass. But even if you're not trading, you're just holding Litecoin and the prices get there. And okay, there we go. You can now sell it and buy those things. But instead of buying that like $22 meal, why don't you just buy that $220 version? Meaning you can upgrade to the moon kind of deal because of the availability. It's almost like these automobiles. You can think of an automobile today that's 85 grand that you like. You can almost think of it as we go forward. Oh, that's like 4 grand. It's 2 grand. And I did, and that happened a lot to me back in here. So it was like, okay, I'm buying silver at like $1. I literally thought that, and I'm going to again in that type of situation because of how the money has been moving. Follow the money. All right then, that is that. Under 20 minutes. That's not a record, but usually you think something like this, I could go 25, 26, and I still could, but I don't know what I'd want to talk about. This is a Litecoin based video and long term analysis. $2,200 target. I mean, look at this where it came back. I mean, markets come back to where it came from. It's just so FU, whatever, typical. So therefore, we'll see if Fibonacci works out. Oftentimes it does. It's got a very good historical track record. And within the Fibonacci mathematics, the experts or the people say, and I'm going to let them, I don't know the reasons why and all the science to how, but whenever we do our everyday things that we don't even think that we're doing, like maybe you are doing something like, I don't know, the way you cut the grass and the way the grass breaks and all the Fibonacci ratio scales and everything, or if you're drawing a painting and the way you draw a person's, or even the human face and everything, there's so many Fibonacci levels there. The flowers that are out there, but even things like you make with the door, where you have different layers of doors where it is, or if you're I don't know, just so many different. I can't even think of any right now, but almost every aspect you could almost find a mechanism where Fibonacci plays. And to me, that's a fascinating aspect. But the Fibonacci I look for and I talk about is obviously within market price action. Only price pays. And if you're trying to guess where prices go, Well, this is the best mechanism at this current stage, which is June 20th, 2019, 1600 hours and 6 minutes, New York time, for me to think of. Of course, always adjusting to the message of the market as it goes through, but again, the duration of how long it takes to get there, I would have to think anywhere between a tight window of betweening what's the shortest amount of time? Mm, but between 8 and a few hundred weeks, but 8 and 120 weeks. Uh, so that, and when I say a little like a tight range, I mean the opposite of that, because I'm not trying to guess the time frame, but it's in an active situation where I can actually say 8 weeks, 9 weeks, it could happen. And of course, that can all change when whatever else happens. Thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day. Bye bye.